In the spring of 1453, as the first pale light of dawn crept over the rolling plains of Rumelia, Sultan Mehmed II, known to history as the Conqueror, stood silently upon a gentle hill overlooking Constantinople. The city lay there like a jewel, massive, impregnable, yet poised on the brink of destiny. Its triple walls rose in formidable layers, an outer wall low but thick, a deep, water-filled moat, and the soaring inner ramparts crowned with towers that had repelled invaders for over a millennium. For centuries, Constantinople had withstood the ambitions of emperors, crusaders, and armies, yet now, with tens of thousands of soldiers at his command, Mehmed prepared to accomplish what many had deemed impossible. Behind him, the Ottoman encampment stretched as far as the eye could see. Tents glimmered in the early light, banners fluttered in the breeze, and the distant hammering of thousands of workers filled the air with a rhythmic urgency. Siege towers creaked as carpenters and engineers moved massive timbers into place, while teams of men and oxen maneuvered the enormous cannon forged by the Hungarian engineer Urban, a bronze colossus capable of hurling stones heavier than a man. Every firing sent tremors through the ground, dust and shattered masonry filling the air, the sound echoing across the hills and into the city. Inside Constantinople, Emperor Constantine XI Palaiologos moved tirelessly along the ramparts, rallying his exhausted defenders. Priests carried candles and chanted prayers through the streets, their voices a steady counterpoint to the roar of Ottoman artillery. Day after day, the cannon fired. Day after day, the masons repaired the shattered walls, stone by stone, night after night, desperate to hold back the tide. The city was alive with determination, yet exhaustion and fear shadowed every street. To the north, the Golden Horn lay calm but heavily defended. A massive iron chain stretched across its mouth, behind which Byzantine and Genoese ships formed a defensive line, blocking Ottoman access. Time and again, Ottoman galleys surged toward the chain, only to rebound or retreat under hail of arrows and bolts. Then, one morning, 4 heavily laden Byzantine supply ships appeared. The wind and currents carried them with startling speed through the chain, into the harbor. The defenders cheered, their hope renewed, while frustration spread through the Ottoman navy. Sultan Mehmed, undeterred, conceived a plan of audacious genius. Under the cover of night, thousands of men laid down a path of wooden logs across the hills behind Galater, greased them with animal fat, and prepared to move the fleet overland. Slowly, carefully, one ship at a time was hauled out of the Bosphorus and slid across the rollers, groaning and creaking, guided by oxen and men shouting and straining in unison. By sunrise, the entire Ottoman fleet lay inside the Golden Horn, bypassing the massive chain that had protected the city for centuries. The defenders were stunned. Fear rippled through the streets, and their morale began to falter. With the harbor breached, the bombardment of the walls intensified. The great cannon fired relentlessly, smashing holes into the outer ramparts. Siege towers, massive and creaking, advanced on the ramparts, shielded by wet hides to resist fire. Arrows, bolts, and stones flew in every direction. Smoke and dust shrouded the battlefield, turning day into a haze of chaos. Inside the city, the situation became desperate. Soldiers manned the walls with exhaustion written on their faces, yet they fought valiantly under the leadership of Giovanni Giustiniani, the Genoese commander who held key positions along the inner fortifications. His presence inspired courage, but the unrelenting assault was wearing all defenders down. One day, Giustiniani was struck by a grievous wound and carried from the walls. His departure caused panic to ripple through the remaining troops, and the defenders' unity began to crumble. On the night of May 28th, Mehmed assembled his generals and his army for the final assault. Torches blazed across the plain, casting shadows on the assembled soldiers, and the Sultan's voice rang above the roar of the camp. "Ere tomorrow, this city will fall, and history will remember our names." 3 waves were planned. The first, irregular troops, would exhaust the defenders. The second, Anatolian soldiers, would press the walls, and the third, the elite janissaries, would follow under the Sultan's direct command. At midnight, the first wave surged forward. Men screamed as they scaled ladders, hurled themselves against the walls, and plunged into moats filled with the debris of previous attacks. The defenders responded with boiling oil, stones, and arrow fire. Corpses piled in the moat, forming a grim bridge over which the Ottomans continued to advance. The second wave pressed in, relentless, breaking through outer defenses, the clash of steel echoing through the city. Then came the janissaries. Perfectly disciplined, they advanced like a single unstoppable force, shields locked, weapons poised. Sultan Mehmed rode alongside them, his presence a beacon that ignited their courage. They climbed over broken walls, stormed towers, and overwhelmed defenders, moving inexorably toward the heart of the city. Streets erupted into chaos. Civilians ran for cover as soldiers fought in alleyways, narrow streets filled with smoke, fire, and the clash of steel. Some defenders barricaded themselves in churches and squares, hurling stones from windows and rooftops. Fires broke out, consuming wooden structures, smoke curling high into the sky. Amid the chaos, a young janissary named Hassan Avulubat scaled a pile of rubble and planted the red Ottoman banner, signaling the final surge. The defenders' morale collapsed. Emperor Constantine XI, realizing the end had come, removed his imperial insignia and joined his soldiers in a final stand. He disappeared into the chaos, his fate lost to history, embodying the final resistance of a fading empire. By midday, the city had fallen. Mehmed II entered through the gate of Adrianople, surveying the ruins of walls that had withstood centuries of assault. He ensured order, granting protection to civilians who had sought refuge. From there, he proceeded to Hagia Sophia, where thousands huddled in fear. Standing beneath its vast dome, he declared that a new era had begun. The fall of Constantinople marked the end of the Byzantine Empire and the rise of the Ottoman Empire as a dominant power. Trade routes shifted, political balances changed, and the nature of warfare itself evolved. It was a siege defined by relentless determination, extraordinary ingenuity, and historical significance. It was a story of courage and fear, of human ingenuity against centuries-old walls, and the turning of an age. As Sultan Mehmed gazed across the city from atop the walls, the sun glinting on broken stone and shattered towers, he understood that he had not merely captured a city, he had reshaped the world, and the echoes of that day would resonate through history forever.